Magic Tree House, Book Number 33, Narwhal on a Sunny Night, by Mary Pope Osborne. Chapter 7, Another World. Lots of things made sense to Jack now. Ericsson's clothes, his spear calling himself a seafarer, and his story of 11 ships lost while sailing from Iceland to Greenland. Ericsson rowed toward a small wooden pier near the Viking ships. When the boat reached the shore, he jumped out. "We are here," he said. Jack and Annie climbed carefully out of the boat. As Ericsson tied it to the pier, Jack turned to Annie. "Those are Viking ships," he whispered. "We saw ships like that on our mission to Ireland. Remember? Viking raiders were invading the coast." "Yikes," said Annie, her eyes wide. "We should escape now, while we can," said Jack. Wait, let's look at the rhyme," said Annie. Jack slipped the rhyme out of his bag. Annie pointed to the last verse. They read silently. "Explore different worlds, show friends where to go, unite all these worlds with a word that will glow." "I think we're doing what Morgan wants," Annie said. "We explored the world of seals and orcas and narwhals, and now this world, the Viking world." "But what about—" Jack started. "Shh," said Annie. Ericsson had finished tying up the boat. Jack put the rhyme back into his bag. "Follow me," Ericsson said. Even though he was still limping, Ericsson walked faster than Jack and Annie. He bounded across the rocky shore and started up a hill. Jack and Annie hurried after him. Soon they could see a cluster of buildings over the crest of the hill. There was a long wooden house and smaller thatched huts and several barns. A few people were working in the chilly sunlight. They were all dressed in several layers of clothing. Women were hanging clothes to dry. Men were stacking wood. A boy was leading cows to a barn. A few girls were feeding hogs and ducks. Chickens and dogs wandered about. Suddenly, the dogs began to bark. Everyone looked around. A woman cried out and pointed at Jack and Annie. Two brown and white dogs bolted down the hill, barking ferociously. Ericsson shouted a command. The dogs stopped barking. A tall, burly man strode down the slope. "My father," said Ericsson. Ericsson's father had long red hair and a wild, bushy beard. He carried an axe. "Oh no," whispered Jack. The Viking man looked fierce. "Wait here," Ericsson ordered Jack and Annie. Leaving them with the dogs, he limped to his father. Jack nervously watched him speak to the wild-looking man. "How are you guys doing today?" Annie asked the dogs. The dogs barked. "Oh, you're just pretending to be scary," she said. The dogs tilted their heads, then started to pant. Their tails were wagging. Annie laughed and held out her hand for the dogs to sniff. Their sniffing quickly turned into licking. Ericsson and his father walked down to Jack and Annie. "This is my father, Eric," the boy said. "He is the chieftain here." "Oh, hello, sir," said Jack. "Glad to meet you," said Annie. "Where do you come from?" Ericsson's father asked in a deep voice. "Frog Creek, Pennsylvania," said Jack. "In the United States of America," Annie added. "You might not have heard of it," Jack said quickly. "No, I have not. Where is that?" Eric asked gruffly. "It's on the continent of North America," said Annie. "Oh no," thought Jack. He knew the Vikings hadn't yet heard of the United States or North America. In Eric's time, the United States wouldn't be a country for another 700 years. But Eric just nodded. "So you are from far away?" he said. "Yes," said Annie. "Welcome," said Eric. He turned to his son. Leaf, let us take your friends to the house. Thanks, said Annie. Then she and Jack started up the hill, following the boy and his father. Eric called the boy Leaf, Jack thought. Leaf? Leif Erikson? Leif Erikson! Annie, he whispered. Erikson's first name is Leaf. I heard that, she said. Erikson must be his last name. Yes, I've read about Leif Erikson and Eric the Red, said Jack. They're famous. Famous? Said Annie. Yeah, said Jack. They're two of the most famous explorers in the history of the world. Chapter 8. Around the Fire. Are you serious? Said Annie. Leif was the first European to step onto the North American continent, said Jack, 500 years before Christopher Columbus. No way, breathed Annie. Yes way, said Jack. Come along, Eric called from farther up the hill. Annie and Jack hurried to catch up with Leif and his father. So, you're Eric the Red and Leif Erikson? Annie asked excitedly. Yes, Eric said. Before Annie could say more, Jack changed the subject. Why did you decide to live here in Greenland? He said. I wanted a new life, Eric said. People call us pirates, but I am a seafarer who searches for safe harbors where I can live with my family. I have found one here, at the edge of the world. I named it Greenland. Why? Asked Annie. I mean, why'd you call it that? Because the word is nice, is it not? Said Eric with a wink. I hoped it would make others want to come live here too. The small group of people watched as Jack and Annie climbed to the top of the hill with Leif and Eric. One of the women in the group stepped forward. She had long blonde braids and a kind face. Who are these children, my son? She said to Leif. My new friends, Jack and Annie, said Leif. They come from far away. Leif's mother smiled. Welcome, Jack and Annie. Come share our dinner with us, she said. She led them to the largest house on the hill. It was a long stone house with a steep roof made of grass. Leif's mother ushered Jack and Annie through the door. She took Jack's and Annie's hats, gloves, and coats. She put them on a bench near the door. Jack put his wool bag there too. The Viking house was dark and warm inside. Lit only with oil lamps, the windowless house was one long, narrow room. In the center was a fire pit. Smoke rose through a hole in the roof. The house smelled of fish and grease and animal fur. Eric and Leif sat on low stools near the fire. Sit, warm yourselves, Eric said. Jack and Annie sat down with them. Leif's mother stirred a black pot over the fire. Then she ladled food into stone bowls and gave them to everyone, along with wooden spoons. Thank you, said Jack and Annie. The food in the bowl looked like a milky gray mush. Jack was afraid to taste it, but when he did, he actually liked it. It tasted like oatmeal. Did you sail here with your family and friends? Eric asked them as they ate. No, it's just us, said Annie. Jack and me. But how is that possible? Said Eric. How did two children find their way here alone? Well, Jack didn't know what to say. We have a map, said Annie. A map? Said Eric. A map, said Leif. May we see it? Sure, said Jack. He put down his bowl and grabbed his bag. He took out their map. He unfolded it and held it up for them to see. Leif and his parents stared in silent wonder. Our land is south of here, said Jack, pointing. It's a long way south. It's off the map. So you used this map to come to Greenland in your ship? Asked Eric. We came in the treehouse, said Annie. Treehouse? That is the name of your ship? Asked Eric. Well, sort of, said Jack. It's not much of a ship, but you guys have really great ships. We saw. Wait, your ship must be the best in the world, said Eric. 2 children sailed it alone to Greenland. I would like very much to see a ship such as yours. Oh, Jack caught his breath. Let us go see it now. Eric stood up. Can we please wait until morning? Annie said. We're pretty tired. Eric, let the children rest, Leaf's mother said. In the morning, we will all go. The whole village will go to see their wondrous ship. Come, Jack and Annie. She picked up an oil lamp. They all stood. Good night, Annie said to Leaf and Eric. Jack put their map back into his bag. Then he and Annie followed Leaf's mother to a shadowy end of the house. You may sleep here, she said. She pointed to 2 fur-covered benches against the wall. Thank you, said Annie. She and Jack climbed onto the benches, and Leaf's mother covered them with more soft furs. Rest well, she said. Keep the lamp burning so you will not be afraid. She put the oil lamp on a small table. Then she left them. Jack, whispered Annie, we don't have a ship to show them. I know, he said. We'd better leave soon. After everyone goes to bed, we can sneak away. Right, said Annie. We can borrow Leaf's rowboat. She yawned. It'll be dark outside, said Jack, trying to keep his eyes open. How will we find our way? We can worry about that later, said Annie. Right, said Jack, closing his eyes. Let's just rest until Leaf and his parents go to bed. Stay awake. Don't go to... Before Jack could say sleep, he dropped off to sleep.